TJ gets up early in the morning, and I fall in and out of sleep as he moves around the room quietly. The shower turns on at some point, and I think I hear Jenna's voice. I fall asleep again, and when I wake up next, I see Jenna in the corner of the room, sitting at the little table and typing away on her laptop. I stare at her groggily until she notices me. Morning. Still tired? It's almost noon. I rub my face into my pillow and groan. Guess I was up later than I thought. I force myself to sit up. Couldn't fall asleep. Yeah, I've been having trouble too. The pets are terrible. I look around. Where's Tej? Hike. What? He went on a hike. I sit there frowning at Jenna. She types a while until she finally notices me staring and shakes her head. I don't know. He wanted to go alone. He's been asking us to go with him all week. I know. I think something's bothering him. Jenna pauses. Well, I know it's the scavenger hunt. Of course, that's what's bothering him. I sit on the edge of the bed, rubbing my face with my paws. This was a bad idea. Jenna goes on typing. Maybe, maybe not. He really wanted to do it. I'm going to try to talk to him when he gets back, though. I stare at my feet for a moment, deciding on whether or not to just text him now. Jenna, do you think there's something weird about the treasure hunt? Jenna doesn't even look up from her screen. Of course I do. I think everything about it is weird. I mean, I don't even know if Sydney put those there. Jenna finally looks up at me. Why not? Just everything seems off. Who do you think put them there, then? I shrug. I don't know. Jenna stares at the computer screen for a while, not typing anymore. Well, the whole reason we're doing this is because of TJ. This seems to be what he wants to do. And even if it was someone else that left them there, if it's going to help him, then I'm going to help him with it. Jenna shrugs. And in the end, all it is a treasure hunt. I'm just hoping that it ends at the house. Yeah. Jenna goes on typing, apparently done with the conversation, so I finally get up to go to the shower. Breakfast is long gone by the time I go to the lobby, and what's left is a few dried biscuits. So I opt to go to the diner instead, while Jenna opts to stay in the room to finish her paper. I sit at my usual booth in the corner of the diner, half-heartedly flipping through the menu. Janice comes over to take my order, and my short answers to her pleasantries keep her from being too chatty. Once I'm done ordering, I sit back and look out the window, watching the bright sun bake the hot desert below. I imagine TJ out there on the trail, trudging along the path under the 100-plus-degree heat. Aside from worrying about what he might be going through right now, I also worry that he might pass out in this kind of weather. I can only hope he had the right of mind to take along enough water and make sure to cool off like he did to me. I look down at my phone on the table, again considering whether or not I should call him. Maybe a text at least. Hey man, smiley face. Then I set my phone back down and wait for a response, wondering if I might drive out to the trail myself if he doesn't. That's when I sense someone move up next to the table. I look up expecting to see Janice, but I'm met with the sight of a young white deer, his clasped paws holding a folded blue apron. I blank on his name for a few moments, and I'm left with my mouth hanging open like an idiot. Then I remember. Oh, Julian, what's up? Julian smiles. Hey there. My shift just ended, and I saw you sitting here. I wait, but he doesn't go on. Oh, I don't want to say it, but it looks like he's expecting it, and I can't really find a way out. So, wanna sit down? Oh yeah, sure. Julian responds quickly and slides in the booth across from me, setting his folded apron down on the table. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. I wonder if I sound a little annoyed. A part of me hopes that I do, so that he might get the hint, like Janice did. But he goes on sitting there, interlocking his fingers and resting his forearms on the table. So, how are you today? Good. You? Julian shrugs. I've been better. This job is really starting to wear me out, you know? Yeah, I've had a few like that. While the buck seems nice enough, I don't think I've had more than 5 conversations with the guy in my entire life. He was just a regular face that I saw through middle and high school, a part of the background. It wasn't until the last few years of high school that I noticed him and TJ hanging out, and TJ was the only reason we ever briefly interacted. So I'm a little bit confused now as to why he's suddenly taken an interest. Yeah? What sort of job do you have? Well, I'm between jobs right now. I'm going to school, but I'll probably stock shelves over the summer, like I did last year. So, that job wore you out? Well, no, but my fast food job did. The one I had in high school. I kinda like stacking boxes and putting stuff on shelves. See, I think food service jobs are definitely the worst, so I can see why stocking might be a little better. He breaks off as Janice comes back, setting down my chicken sandwich. Oh, you know Chase, Julian? A little. I know him through TJ. Ah, well, if you see that boy again, let him know that I'd like to chat with him. I look up and Janice gives me a wink before bustling off. I decide to definitely not let TJ know. But anyway, I'm going to school too, over at Mesa, and this diner has some seriously flexible hours. Only reason I'm still here. At least you guys don't seem very busy, even during the lunch hour. I nod at the 2 or 3 other occupied tables. Yeah, it's a wonder we're still in business. Probably gonna have to close down in a year or 2. That idea actually makes me a little sad. I look down at my chicken sandwich, feeling a bit awkward at the idea of Julian just watching me eat, so I leave it on the plate for now. Julian leans back and looks out the window. So, where's TJ at? I thought you two were hanging out. I get the feeling that this is the main reason why Julian is talking to me. Yeah, he went off on a hike earlier this morning. I slept in. Oh, I see. You still do that a lot? I shrug. I don't know. We've only been here about a week. He does love going on hikes, though. I mean, does he do that at CCU? I stare at Julian for a second before I realize what he's talking about. Oh, no, I don't go to CCU. I'm at Pueblo. Huh? So you guys met up here? Well, I picked him up and brought him here, along with Jenna, but she goes to Pueblo too. I grow a little frustrated at having to explain everything to this guy. All I want to do is eat, then go back to the motel and wait for TJ. I see. TJ was my best friend during senior year. After you and Carl left, we hung out all the time. After he left for college, we kinda lost touch. Yeah, he's not very active on social media. I'd only see TJ post a few pictures since he started classes. A few were of him on the college soccer team, and one was of him standing in a prayer circle along with an inspirational quote. But Julian revealing that he was TJ's best friend toward the end of high school cools my exasperation. I suppose he does have a reason to know what TJ might be up to. He was kind of depressed right after graduation, so I've been a little worried about him. Depressed? That surprises me. I've never known TJ to be depressed. Sure, he'd been sad before, but not outright depressed, as far as I know. Maybe I don't know much about him. I thought it might have to do with graduation, but it went on all summer. Oh, well, if you want to talk to him, I can definitely let him know. I gesture at my phone on the table. I also make a mental note to myself that I should talk to TJ, too. About everything. Julian smiles. That would be great! Please do. I think he must have changed his number after leaving. Okay. I hesitate, then pick up the phone to type out the brief message. I just met Julian at the diner. He'd like to talk to you. Smiley face. TJ hasn't texted me back yet. How long have you known TJ? I set the phone back down and settled back into the booth. Since he got here in like 2001, so 14 years ago? Whoa! That's a long time. Yeah, it really is. You guys always been good friends? For the most part. I had times when I was kind of a dick to him, but he's always been a good friend to me. I see. Yeah, we all went to the same elementary school, but it wasn't until junior high that I met him in Bible study. Oh. Of course. I always knew about you guys, though. The Echo Kids. Yep, that was us, the weirdos. Julian glances around before lowering his voice. It was a mean thing to say, but this town is kind of messed up. A lot of weird things happen here. Can't argue with that. Julian looks around again, biting his lip. Then he lowers his voice another notch. Hey, so this is gonna be a bit weird, and I don't mean to offend you, but it's something that's bothered me for a while. I eye Julian warily. Yeah? TJ told me what happened at Lake Emma a while back when we were talking about death and heaven. I feel a little chill go up my spine. Well, he never actually told me about what exactly happened, but I can tell it really affects him. Julian pauses, but I don't say anything, keeping my eyes fixed on the table. Now, you don't have to tell me, and if it makes you uncomfortable, please don't. But I feel like if I have a better idea of what happened, I might understand him a bit better. Julian brings his interlocked fingers up to his chin to rest on it. I'm not going to ask him to tell me, of course. I know it was a long time ago, but I know you can carry stuff like that around for a long time. So if you're not okay with it, then please just let me know and I'll change the subject. I contemplate it for a moment, wondering if the buck is out of line to be asking about such a thing. I decide he isn't. He's one of TJ's best friends, so in a way he's sort of connected to it. So I guess he does have a reason to know. Okay, but please don't bring it up with TJ. Like I said, it still really affects him. Never. Julian looks at me solemnly. I think for a moment, gathering my thoughts. It's been a long time since I thought of the story from beginning to end. It was around August, I think. 2003? It's a little bit hard to remember. What I do remember is that we'd all gone down to the lake to swim like we did almost every week. There's this little spot where the beach kind of curves in and is mostly sand and shallow water. That's where we'd usually hang out and swim. Even though the water was always sort of stagnant there, it was at least safe and warm compared to the rest of the lake. I think at some point, one of us wanted to go and skip rocks. We had to go further up the shore to do that, and TJ was more interested in building sandcastles. So he stayed behind while the rest of us went up the beach to find the rocks. When you go up that far, you can't really see that spot anymore, so I'm not completely sure what happened. I vaguely remember looking back at TJ as we went up the beach. The lynx bending over his castle, the back of his wet swim trunks covered in sand from where he'd sat down. Sydney went with us. I at least remember that. But while we were skipping rocks, he just sort of disappeared. I glance up at Julian for a moment and see him listening attentively before I look back down at the table. Anyway, we heard some splashing and some shouting from TJ, and we all ran up the beach to see Sydney floating out in the lake. I swam out there and got him. Too late, though. I don't mention the part where TJ was crouching in 3 feet of water staring at Sydney's body floating 20 feet away from him. I don't tell him that TJ's explanation for what happened always amounted to Sydney stepping out too far into the water. That maybe the current knocked him off balance and pulled him in. I would even said that it almost looked like an invisible shark had grabbed Sydney and pulled him out. How none of it makes any sense at all. None of us are sure what happened. It seems to be enough for Julian, though, as he shakes his head. I'm very, very sorry to hear that, but thank you for telling me. All I knew was that a friend of his drowned in the lake. He didn't tell me how close he was to it. It makes sense why that would still deeply affect him. No problem. I realize that Julian is probably the first person that I've ever told the story to outside of Echo. I also realize that it wasn't hard at all to do. I suppose it's easier to tell someone who wasn't related to the incident, someone that has no connection to the raw horror of that day. That and a lot of time has passed. Maybe I just got over it without even knowing. But yeah, Echo is a crazy place. You know about that mass hysteria thing that happened 100 years ago? This place is kind of famous for that. Almost all of the paranormal podcasts I listen to have an episode on it. My heart skips a beat as I suddenly remember my project. I cover my face with my paws. Shit. What's wrong? Did I say something? I uncover my face to see Julian looking at me with some concern. No, I just forgot some schoolwork that I need to get done. A project. The excitement around the scavenger hunt completely wiped the thought of it from my mind. Oh? What kind of project? A news report on Echo and that mass hysteria incident. I've barely done anything on it since I first got here. Hey, that's so cool! Do you need help? I blink, the buck's eagerness surprising me. For the first time, I see him becoming embarrassed, the skin on the inside of his ears turning a dark red. Sorry, it's something that's always interested me, so I get a little excited. I glance down at my phone and see that I still haven't gotten a response from TJ, so I get an idea. Despite my initial annoyance, I like how considerate Julian was about the whole lake incident. I also wanted to give him a chance to see TJ before the end of our trip. Well, actually, I've been meaning to get some footage of the mine, or at least the opening since it's sealed up. If you want, we can head up there to get some shots, and at the same time look for TJ. The trail is in that area. Julian perks up. Hey, that would be really awesome. Thanks! Do you want to eat that first? I look down at my sandwich and shake my head. I'll just eat it on the way to the motel. Oh, I got a truck. I can drive you over, and there's a bunch of room if you need it for your equipment. Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks. Just let me get a to-go box and we can leave. 20 minutes later, and we're heading up the narrow canyon road toward the mine. I haven't been there in years, but the dirt road leads straight to it, so I don't even have to look up instructions. Julian chats away while I eat my lukewarm sandwich out of a foam to-go box. While there's an almost robotic quality to the buck with how articulate he is, he's also really nice. I can certainly see why TJ would call him a friend. The bumpy road curves upward, and finally we get to the mine. There's a wide open dirt space for parking, along with some concrete barriers along the edge of the drop-off. There are a few signposts, probably giving a brief history on the mine, and then there's TJ. The Lynx is sitting at the opening of the mine, right at the entrance. He's leaning back against the rebar grid that sealed the entrance. What the... Julian stops talking and looks over at me, then in the direction I'm looking. Whoa, is that TJ? I don't say anything because I realize now how limp the Lynx looks, his head tipped back, his paws limply laying on the ground. I'm out of the truck before Julian can even park, my to-go box spilling out onto the gravel as I jog toward TJ. TJ! Hey, what's wrong? You okay? The Lynx doesn't respond, and when I get to him, I see that his eyes are open, but they're rolled back to the point where I can only see white. I bend over him, trying to help him sit up better, made more difficult by his bulky backpack getting in the way. As I'm doing this, I feel a rush of cold air from the mine blowing out through the rebar. I ignore it at first, focusing on trying to get TJ to respond to me, but then I realize there's a hissing sound to go with it, like someone exhaling. I glance up through the grid, but I don't see anything. Still, I get the unnerving feeling that the opening is breathing somehow. Is he all right? Julian's shouting and running up next to me turns my attention back to TJ. I look down at the Lynx and see his ears twitching around. What? Huh? What? I crouch down next to him, putting a paw behind his head to give him some support. TJ, what happened? Are you okay? TJ turns to me, blinking in confusion. Okay? What's wrong? He rubs at his eyes with the back of his paw before adjusting himself so that he can sit up straight. You were just sitting there. You almost looked... Julian pauses. It looks like you were passed out or something. TJ finally seems to focus on us, the dazed look in his eyes disappearing. Passed out? Oh, no, I was just taking a quick nap. TJ lets out a short laugh and leans his head back against his backpack. What? Here? I look back at the sealed mine, the ominous blackness still seeming to yawn open at us. Why? Well, it's hotter than usual today, so I started to feel like I was going to pass out. Thought that might be a bad sign, so I decided to rest once I got here. You came here on purpose? Yeah, I saw the canyon with you last time, so I decided to take a trip to the mine this time. TJ smiles lazily up at me as he continues to lounge against his backpack. Sorry I worried you, and... Oh, Julian! TJ seems to suddenly realize that the stag is here. What are you doing here? TJ quickly gets to his feet, sliding his arms out of the straps of his backpack. He hugs Julian, the stag hugging back just as enthusiastically. TJ doesn't even greet me so intimately. I guess I have more of a history than I thought. Hey, Teach. Yeah, I met Chase at the diner. You weren't answering your text, so we both decided to come up and find you. That, and Chase needs to get some footage for his project. Oh, cool. Do you need help with that, Chase? TJ turns to me with a grin. I don't know what it is, but TJ's acting a lot more chipper than he was yesterday. That almost dark broodiness is gone, replaced by his usual cheer. I have to smile because of it, despite the situation just a few minutes ago. Sure. Another breeze of cool air seems to whoosh softly through the rebar. I look back at it. TJ, why the hell would you sleep here next to the creepy mine? TJ frowns. It was really cool. Like cold. I was laying in the opening and felt some cool air blow out, so I decided to lean against it. It feels really nice. TJ walks up to the metal grid and spreads his arms out, clutching onto bars as he presses his face against it. Ah. He leans his head back, pulling a face. Well, it smells really musty, but it feels good. I look back at the opening, the blackness inside sending chills up my spine. I think back to when a body was found in there over 100 years ago. Even though I know there aren't any dead bodies in there now, it still creeps me the fuck out. I try to hide my shudder as I turn away, looking back at the truck. Hey, so are we going to Sydney's old house now? Is that why you guys came to find me? TJ's trying to hide it, but I can hear the eagerness in his voice. I turn back to look at him, the lynx now with his back to the mine pressed up against it. I want to tell him to move away from the opening, but I wouldn't be able to explain to him why. Well, let me get some filming done first. I can do the voiceover later, so it'll be quick. I hold back a wince as I realize how much time that's also going to take. My project is going to be shit at this point, and avoid that. I just need to make it the least shit as I can. Oh, yeah. Sorry. TJ laughs nervously, then looks away. Sorry, I'm just a little loopy from my nap. You guys really surprised me. It's okay. I'm going to go get my equipment really quick, all right? TJ nods at me, and I jog off to the parked truck to grab my camera. So TJ might be acting a little weird, but I'm just glad he seems happy again. Seeing him the way that he was last night was a little unnerving, to say the least. I scoop up my camera bag from the bed of the truck and head back, slowing down to a walk as the heat is already starting to catch up with me. How TJ was able to go on a several-hour-long hike is absurd to me. It almost seems foolish, especially for someone like TJ who knows about how dangerous that can be. When I get back to the mine entrance, I see Julian and TJ sitting with their backs to either side of the opening, chatting with each other. They're eating granola bars, and TJ holds one out to me as I approach. Thanks. Hey, TJ? Huh? TJ looks up at me innocently. If you go on a hike again, be sure to bring me next time, okay? I don't think you should be alone out here. Oh, yeah, sure. His ears droop a little, a small frown on his face. I just don't want you to get hurt, you know? It's really hot today, and it would have been really terrible if you passed out alone. Yeah, sorry. I dropped my bag gently on the ground before leaning back against the wall next to the lynx. It's all good. I just want to make sure you're okay. Thanks. I just didn't want to wake you up this morning. Jenna offered to go with you, didn't she? TJ sighs quietly, looking away into the mine. Yeah, but I can tell you guys don't want to go. I just don't want to ruin this trip for you more than I already have. What? TJ, what are you talking about? TJ goes quiet, then just shrugs his shoulders. Maybe he isn't back to his old self after all. I wouldn't mind going with you, TJ. I love hiking. Julian smiles gently at the lynx. For some reason, I feel a tiny tug of annoyance in my chest. It's stupid. But I was the one who offered first, and I'm the one that took TJ out the first time. Yeah, we could both go. The point is, you don't go out alone next time, all right, Tej? Yeah, okay. Thanks, guys. No problem. A short silence stretches out between the three of us before Julian speaks up again. We were just talking about our old Bible study group. TJ leans his head back against the wall, rolling his eyes. It's an expression I don't see from him very often. What about it? Oh, just the way that TJ would always take it so seriously, and no one else would. TJ shakes his head in exasperation. Yeah, I never had any control in that club. Oh, really? Were you in charge? It's a little odd to think of TJ in a leadership position like that. I just never knew him to put himself out there in high school. Yeah, I revived it after it sort of went defunct for a few years. Wasn't all that popular. TJ smiles with some embarrassment. Yeah, we had like 3 other members, not including you or me. Yeah, that one dropped out after like 2 meetings. Julian clicks his tongue. What a godless school we went to. Hey! You know I'm kidding. Mostly. Well, I did want atheists to join too, as long as they weren't disruptive. I just wanted to show everyone what a nice experience it could be, even if you didn't believe. I very vaguely remember TJ inviting me to the club and me saying that I'd think about it. I never went, of course. Wasn't all that spiritual in the end, though. Yeah, mostly we just talked and brought snacks. It took TJ a while to realize no one wanted another Sunday school session at actual school. Yep. Hours of planning out the window. It was still a great time. I think the 4 of us were happier for it. Yeah, I guess. TJ seems to suddenly notice me. Sorry, Chase. You wouldn't know much about this stuff. It's okay. It's interesting to hear about. Again, I get that little twinge of jealousy, even though I know it's not fair. I'd chosen not to show up, probably using that time to go home and hang out with Leo. You didn't miss much, just discussions about movies and watching movies too. They couldn't even be religiously themed. Thank God. Hey! I laugh at how indignant TJ is. Well, I'm glad you had a good time at least. I came away thinking the whole thing was a failure. I think I remember you mentioning that you wished your friend here would have shown up. I don't really remember. Of course you do. You said it all the time. TJ's ears flatten and turn red. Who? Me? Yep. Julian grins as TJ tries to look away. While the situation is kind of funny, now I feel even worse about not ever showing up. Sorry, Tej. You know, it was high school and all, Yeah, I understand. Don't worry about it. So, did you start another club at your new school? TJ smirks. It's a Christian school, so there's like 50 clubs about religion. Oh! Are you a member of any of them? A few. Which ones? A singles club? Singles? As in finding a date? Sure. He looks away again. It's hilarious how bashful he is about this stuff. He's in college. All of this should be natural to talk about, but not with TJ. You meet anyone? Hey, Chase, don't you have to film some stuff? He looks back at me with a frown. Whoa, just asking. Julian chuckles quietly. I bend down and start pulling out my equipment, deciding that a few long shots with the tripod should be enough. As I'm extending out the legs, Julian asks TJ about the hike. Was it fun? TJ shrugs, finishing the last of his granola bar and brushing his paws together to get rid of the crumbs. It was okay. It was really quiet. I wince as one of my paws gets pinched between metal. Kinda creepy, to be honest. I would like it if you two went along sometime, if I do it again. Of course! Yeah, definitely. For the next 20 minutes, I set up the camera in 3 different spots, getting about 1 minute of film for each. TJ and Julian sit in the truck while I do, and whenever I glance at them, they seem to be animatedly chatting and laughing. Once I'm done, I sigh and quickly snap the legs back down into the bag along with the camera. I see my to-go box in the dirt and consider picking it up, but I don't. I drop the bag into the truck again before hopping into the passenger seat, leaving TJ to sit between the two of us. They go quiet as we start pulling out onto the dirt road. What were you guys talking about? Oh, not much. Just about high school. TJ nods. Again, I'm starting to feel a little left out between these two. Kind of like a third wheel. So, what's the plan now? Well, we thought we'd go to the house now, after we pick up Jenna and Carl. All right. We drive in silence a little while, and for some reason I start to wish that I was sitting in the middle. The way Julian keeps turning the wheel forces his elbow to brush up against TJ's side, and I force myself to look away, wondering what the fuck I'm thinking. I'm treating TJ like he's something that belongs to me. We've only hung out recently over the course of this week. I'd barely talked to him the past 2 years. I force myself to look ahead, out the windshield. Then TJ's phone buzzes, and my eyes naturally go to the screen as the Lynx whips it out. I see the name Flynn, then the message underneath it. I only have time to see a few words. You know, his fucking tell me. TJ jerks his phone back down, and I look away just as I feel the Lynx's eyes on my face. Wonder if he saw me looking. Sure he did. That doesn't really matter, though, because now I'm wondering what the fuck Flynn thinks he's doing. They'd been staying away from each other the past few days, obviously, but I guess Flynn found another way to get to TJ. What the fuck does he think he's doing? I found myself getting angry. I don't exactly know what the lizard is saying to TJ, but judging by what I saw, it's definitely not good. Make a mental note to ask TJ about it tonight. If he won't tell me, then I'll let Leo know. He'll do something about it. We all walk up to the sidewalk to the old ranch-style house. It's been a long, long time since I've seen this place. Ever since I'd walked on this path. Sydney's house is up the gravel road behind the forest. It's a bit of an odd spot, secluded from the rest of the town. It was all the better for us, I guess. It's nice not to be reminded of what happened. Guys, I don't know about this. You think he's just gonna let us in? What else can we do? Maybe Sydney didn't mean his room? Where else would he sleep? I don't know. I mean, he'd nap in random places, if I remember right. Like, he'd slept on my couch, even. Stop it, Chase. No, that's not what he meant. Well, who knows? I do. I know where it is. That dark edge to TJ's voice is creeping in again. I suppose there's no harm in asking. You can't deny that it's a little weird for 5 young adults to just show up on your doorstep asking to be let in. We don't have much of a choice, though, do we? TJ's walking ahead of all of us, marching up the concrete steps without hesitation before immediately ringing the... Whoa! Wait! We didn't even think of what we're going to say. I already know what I'm going to say. We stand there in stunned silence for a bit, and I look around at the others. Carl looks completely uncomfortable, almost nauseous, his paws shoved deep into his pockets as he stares hard at the ground. Jenna is staring at TJ, her brow furrowed, clearly worried. Julian just stands there, as if the situation doesn't bother him at all. The door finally opens, revealing a young red panda, not much older than ourselves. He blinks at us, then fixes a smile on his face. Hello. Can I help you? I see TJ's ears flatten down for a moment, his originally tough resolve clearly faltering. Hello. The red panda stares down at TJ for a moment, waiting expectantly. I don't recognize him, and I'm sure I would have seen him around town if he'd moved in after Sydney's parents moved out. It must have been sometime recently, a few years ago. I decide then that I should step in to let TJ try and gather his wits. Hi, I'm Chase. This is TJ, Carl, Jenna, and Julian. I point to everyone, feeling my cheeks grow hot. Hi, everyone. I'm Angie. Another moment of awkward silence before I try to think of something else to say. How the hell do you bring up wanting to search someone's house because it belonged to your dead friend? As I'm trying to figure that out, TJ speaks up again. Our friend used to live here about 12 years ago. Oh, really? The panda seems to think. Are you talking about Cindy? This is Sydney. Sydney. Yeah, he was our friend. Oh, sorry, I couldn't remember the name. I think his aunt told me about what happened. Yeah, and he left something behind for us in his room. Is it alright if we come in and look for it? Angie's originally inquisitive look is replaced by one of confusion and definitely a little bit of suspicion. Oh, all of you? I notice Carl still staring down hard at the floor, his paws twisting in his pockets. If that's alright with you. Angie stares at us all for a good 10 seconds, causing even me to glance down at the floor, realizing how stupid all of this is. Finally, he starts to step back, closing the door a little bit as he does. I'm sorry, but I don't think that's a good idea. Wait! TJ steps forward, his fur bristling. The panda jumps a little, closing the door further until it's at the point where I can only see one of his eyes. Sorry. It's just... maybe I could come in and the rest of my friends wait outside? This will be really quick. I know exactly where to look. The panda's one eye looks back at us. TJ turns around and makes a shooing gesture with both paws, There's a pause. Then we stumble back a little, down the steps, onto the sidewalk. My face burns again in embarrassment, realizing what a bunch of crazy people we look like right now. I look back and see TJ standing alone on the porch, looking back at the panda, his paws clasped together. Again, what feels like a very long silence seems to drag on until Angie opens the door slightly. You know what? Why don't you just tell me where it is, and I'll go have a look. Oh, yeah, She just seems surprised, as if only now considering that idea. It's the room on the left, down the hallway. Gigi points at the door at an angle. In the closet, in the back corner. It might be in a box. Angie's facial expression mirrors mine as I frown. A box and a closet, sitting there for over a decade? All right, I'll have a look. Angie disappears behind the door and I hear a deadbolt slide into place. We stand there in silence for a while before Carl breaks in. Dude, he's calling the police. No, he's not. We look like a bunch of crazy people. We should leave. Not until he comes back out. I think I'm gonna be sick. I think it's technically okay unless he tells us to leave. He did say he's going to look for it. No harm in just waiting for his answer. I see Carl scuff his hooves against the pavement, looking around nervously. I wonder if he's had too much weed or something. Why do you think it's in the closet? He used his shoebox in there as a spot for his treasure hunts before. You remember? I vaguely do, now that he mentions it. But I'm surprised TJ does. He was even younger. Then the door opens and Angie comes back out. His facial expression is completely different now. It's one of amazement and disbelief, but it's what's in his paws that catches my attention. It's a teal-colored shoebox, old and worn and torn through the corners. My mouth drops open. Angie stands there for a moment, holding the box out. Is this it? It's not mine, and there's a piece of paper inside. TJ's paws shake as he reaches out to take the box, lifting the lid to look inside. It was in the spot that you said. I've never seen that before. I feel my stomach twist, more dismayed than anything that he found something. Do you not use that closet? It's a bit of an odd question, but I want to know how the hell he might have missed it. And she shakes his head. No, not really. It's mostly a storage room right now. I think I've opened it a few times to put some boxes on the shelf, but I can't really remember. Did you not look inside when you first moved in? And she looks at me, and so does TJ over her shoulder. I guess now I'm sounding like the crazy person. Well, I can't really remember. It was a couple years ago. I had family help me move them in, so maybe they just thought it was mine if they saw it. I want to ask more, but I bite my lip, not wanting to seem as frustrated and suspicious as I am. It's definitely something I could have missed. I found a few things in the crawl space from the last family. Who lived here before you, if you don't mind my asking? Angie leans against the doorway, his arms folded, looking a lot more relaxed now. It was the family you're talking about, I think. The Bronsons? Yes. TJ's still looking down at the box, having not taken out the note. Yep, the woman who lived here moved out right after that happened, but then her sister moved in. She told me about what happened when I bought the place. Angie looks down at the box that TJ's still holding. Do you know what he left you? How did you know to find it? It's, an old scavenger hunt that we found. It told us to come here. Like Something he left behind? Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm sorry about what happened to your friend. You must have been children at the time? No one says anything, so I nod for him. I'm sorry. Also, sorry for being so suspicious when you guys showed up. Thought I caught someone trying to break in a few days back. Can't be too careful. Don't worry about it. That's completely understandable. Angie nods, then shifts around. I don't want to pry, but what does it say? I didn't read it since I didn't want to intrude or anything. TJ lifts the lid again, then reaches in to pull out the piece of paper. It's identical to the others that we've seen. Angie takes a box from the links so he can use both paws to unfold the note. Then he starts reading. I hope that you're all having fun. Soon you'll know what Chase has done. Figure it out. It's a piece of cake. If you can't, look by Carl's drawing at the lake. It goes quiet for a while. The only sound is the wind rustling through the trees. Then I hear a gagging sound. Look back just in time to see Carl hurling into some bushes. TJ is strangely calm as we sit in the motel room. It's been about half an hour since we found the last note. After Carl lost his lunch in the bushes, Julian drove him back home, and we had to put the scavenger hunt on hold. TJ wants us all to be there for it. Julian is still with us, and I keep wondering when the hell he's going to go home. He's just joined our little group today, and TJ acts like he needs to be part of this for some reason. He barely even knew Sydney. But that doesn't really matter. This whole thing is so ridiculous. It's so obvious that Sydney had nothing to do with this scavenger hunt. Someone's planting these damn notes, and they have it out for me. I sit with my back against the headboard of the bed, staring at my legs as TJ tries to defend this whole thing. If it's really bothering you, Chase, then you don't have to come. I bristle a bit. You're insisting everyone else go. Why not me? I force myself not to look over at Julian. I do want you to come, but you're so angry. I've never seen you like this. Oh, I have. We all have. Chase is just acting like his old self now. Jenna sits in the corner on her laptop as usual, smirking. It pisses me the fuck off. Listen, whoever's writing these has it out for me. Look at what the last one said. Sydney wrote them, and he always kind of teased you. It's just like him. I go quiet, looking away with a glare. What do you think the clues are implying about you, Chase? I think for a moment, but it's hard with all the anger that keeps threatening to bubble to the surface. I don't know. I just don't like the sound of it, and honestly, I try to think of the right way to word what I'm going to say. If you respect me, you'd see that and stop this stupid hunt. It goes quiet for a moment. Then Julian stands up. Hey, I'm gonna head out. Let me know what you guys decide to do tomorrow. I've got the whole day off. Oh, okay, man. Thanks so much for coming with us. TJ gives the stag a side hug, and I try to keep myself from bristling. Once Julian leaves out the door, TJ sits on the foot of the bed looking at me. I completely respect you, Chase. But I really think these are from Sydney. He's just teasing you. I don't say anything, choosing to look at the wall, feeling more unnerved by my own emotions than anything else. I don't feel like myself at all. I know I asked you this morning, but if you think this is someone else's doing, who could it be? Jenna crosses her arms, looking at me earnestly. I sit there quietly for a moment, debating on whether or not I should tell them. I decide I have to, since neither of the others seem to see it. I think it's Flynn. What? I think it's Flynn and Carl. They're doing this whole thing. You can't be serious. Who else? Carl's the one that found the first note. I think Flynn gave it to him. The looks on Jenna and TJ's faces make me look away again. Am I going crazy? Jace, that's crazy, I know. But you saw how Carl was acting today, how nervous he was. He even threw up. Carl does that sometimes. Ugh. I slide my legs off the bed and let them hang over the side, fully facing the wall now. I know how Flynn was back at the river, but even he wouldn't do that. I look back at TJ with a glare. What about those texts he's sending you? What? TJ's paw flies to his pocket, a shocked look on his face. Jenna looks between us. What? Flynn sent TJ a text swearing at him. I think he's been messaging you this whole time. TJ's quiet, just staring at me. TJ? Is that true? TJ stares at the floor for a moment before finally looking up, his voice oddly calm. Yeah, well, he's angry. Of course he would be. But he has no reason to be writing the scavenger hunt. Flynn would never do that. You sure about that? TJ glares back at me, and now I can tell I've made him angry. Yes. Why would he do it in the first place? I don't have to think hard on that one. To hurt TJ, to ruin our friendship by making up lies about me, to just be a complete dick. Take your pick. That's absolutely ridiculous. I don't say anything, choosing to glare at the wall. Jenna looks between us again and shakes her head. All right, enough of this. Neither of you are acting like yourselves, so I think it's best we head to bed, all right? Whatever. I slide into the bed on my side, still staring at the wall, listening as TJ gets up and goes into the bathroom. Jenna goes on typing on her computer. I lay there quietly, deciding that I'm going to have to do something to stop this. Sneaking out of the motel is probably the hardest part. I know that if they catch me at any point, it's over. At about 3 a.m., I slide out of the bed, listening to TJ snores and watching Jenna's unmoving form curled up on the bed in front of me. Quietly, I dig around in my bag for my keys, then slip out the door into the night. I grit my teeth as my car starts up, imagining TJ or Jenna pulling back the curtains and seeing me sitting in the car. I've got excuses. I'm sick, I had to drive to the emergency room, or even that I just couldn't sleep and wanted to get a snack somewhere. They're all suspicious, but should be enough to cover my ass if things go south. I drive along the quiet road, my surroundings almost black since the moon has set. It takes me a moment to find the side road that will take me to the shore. Once I do, I see one lonely orange light glaring in the middle of the parking lot. I park away from it at the edge of the lot. It's dark here. I sit in the car for a while, wondering what I'm doing, wondering what the fuck I'm going to do. But something drives me, a feeling that if I don't do this, then the rest of my life is going to be ruined. I can't let that happen. I open the door and quickly get out. I pull out my phone and turn on the light, finding the small dirt trail that leads out into the inky blackness. The air is cool, and I can smell the lake. Pretty soon, I can hear it too, the soft, desolate sounds of the waves running against the thin strip of the shore. It's peaceful, but at the same time it terrifies me, and for a moment, I feel like the lake is one giant living thing. It dwarfs me with its presence, a giant, all-knowing thing. It knows I'm here. I shudder and force myself to continue. I find the shoreline, and the dry sand shifts under my feet as I take a right and follow the shore. I try to ignore the sounds of the lake, the feeling that it's watching me, beckoning me towards it. Finally, I come across the boulder that I'm looking for. The one that Carl used to carve his drawings into. Of course, it would be something Carl used. That fat piece of shit. I kneel down beside it, moving the light of my phone around until I find the drawings. I look at the super wolf etched into the rock, glaring. Then I see a glint of light above it. I shift my phone up to see what it is. I gasp, and I can't help a ragged scream from escaping my throat. A tarantula sits there, staring back at me, its cluster of eyes shining back in the darkness. I stumble back in the sand and fall, sitting down hard and causing my teeth to clack together. I scramble back up. I look around for a rock and quickly find one. When I turn back around and lift the light, the spider is gone. I look around for a while, in case it just moved around, maybe on the ground closer to me. I don't see anything, though. And I throw the rock at the lake, cursing the damn thing. Then I kneel down and look at the spot between the rocky ground and the boulder. It takes a few moments, and I have to get real close, looking deeper into the crevices, and then there's a glint of what looks like metal. I start to dig, first with my bare hands, then with the help of a flat rock laying nearby. I'm sweating and gasping by the time I pull the thing free. It looks like an old lunchbox. I shine a light on it and can barely make out what looks like a cartoon dragon. I open it and pull out the note. I read it. In a fit of rage, I tear the stupid thing in half, throwing it on the ground. "You fucker!" I hiss it through my teeth, then pull out the piece of paper that I had taken out of one of Jenna's notebooks, along with a pen. I write for a moment, using the old lunchbox as a flat surface. When I'm done, I drop it into the box, then wedge the box into the crevice, covering it up with the loose dirt I'd moved. I pack it down, then stand back up. Thinking twice, I pick up the shredded note and stuff it into my pocket. Then I walk back up the shore and up the trail, ignoring what looks like the eye shine of tarantulas all around me. Maybe it's just the stars. I don't remember much of the drive back, or the parking lot of the motel. Next thing I know, I'm standing next to the bed, glaring down at TJ, watching him sleep. Saturday. So that's going to do it for Friday. We're trying not to talk too much at the end of this part, because I tend to just ramble on. But there are some things I want to bring up. Like, the hysteria, you can see it ramping up in Chase. But the interesting thing is, we get to actually, because Chase is the narrator, we get to experience his thinking process, especially his inner monologue, his internal monologue, when he notices just how weird he's being. And there's several times where he acts like he doesn't know what the hell's going on with him, where he knows that he's off. Like, sitting in the parking lot, he's wondering, what the hell am I doing out here? Why am I thinking this way? When he's at the diner with Julian, there's the whole, like, he knows he's being kind of suspicious, kind of odd about it. But at that point, it's still really early on, so he can attribute it to him being groggy, a little antisocial, not wanting to be in touch with anyone right now, and then just get Julian kind of comes by. He's like, hey, let's be friends right now. And Chase is like, I don't really want to, but I can't see a reason not to. That doesn't sound incredibly rude, so have a seat, pal. And for Chase's experience with the mine, after they find TJ, it seems like only Chase is disturbed by how eerie the mine is. Like, it yawns at him. It's a big gaping blackness. TJ doesn't seem to mind it. It's only Chase. So I wonder, is this a symptom of the hysteria that Chase is succumbing to? Is this just another sign of it? I don't know. And there's just other points where Chase can just look and just think, like, why am I thinking this right now? Why am I doing that? It makes me wonder, in the other routes, when the hysteria is hitting other people, do they notice? Do they question it? Or do they just kind of roll with it? I think Leo, I don't know if Leo would really question it. Like, would he? I don't know. Because it's almost like the super serum in Marvel, where this hysteria seems to to an extent, take what's already there and just amplify it. So what's going on in Leo is like kind of the jealousy and attachment thing. And in his route, it becomes so bad that he just straight up unalives Kudzu. So I'm kind of wondering about that. The incident of the hysteria, that is so well known. Julian mentions that he listens to podcasts, and every one of them seems to have an episode on the hysteria. And not only that, Duke, who seems to be fairly well involved in certain routes with what goes on in the city, at least during the hysteria, he says that it's been like a generational thing. It happened to his daddy, it happened to his daddy's daddy, and so on and so forth. If this is so well known, other than being a shit place, why doesn't the little government of Echo have like a plan in place? Because you would think, if it's so well known that everyone who's lived in Echo for generations, or the family has, you can actually tell you, like, we have this history and there are actual episodes about it. You would think a good, competent government would actually do something. It's a little outlandish that they don't. But at the same time, everyone goes... the story goes out of its way to mention how shit Echo is. So it kind of makes sense. And to end it, I want to ask, TJ being different. Even today, even on Friday, him being a little different. What do y'all think? Is that a symptom of the hysteria that's hitting TJ? Or is that just a result of Chase telling TJ to be more assertive? And this is TJ trying to be more assertive. Because like I said last time I talked, at the end of a part, or at end of a day, rather, Chase is not a very good teacher on how to be assertive. Like, he kind of knows how to do it himself, but he is not a good example of how to do it. So it could be either way, but we don't really see TJ acting under the influence of the hysteria of this route any other way, I don't think. We'll find out as it refreshes my memory. I don't think it does. I think it's all the assertiveness that he's trying to build up. Anyways. I should also say, the scene with NG at the Bronson's old house. That's a really well-written scene. I like that. Just really well done. How, you know, everyone's just like, this looks freaking weird, dude. And the way that everyone's just taking it. Carl's super uncomfortable. Jenna's like, this is kind of weird. Chase is like, this is nuts. But mostly because he just doesn't want to continue with it. Because he thinks whoever's doing it has that out for him. And TJ just determined as all hell to actually do it. And Julian's just like, cool, we're hanging out. Big smile on his face. Hey man, this is fun. And then NG's just like very realistically like, is this really, like, first opens the door. Hi. What can I help you with? And then they tell him what they want. He's like, okay, I'm just going to go back inside. I'm not about to let a bunch of strangers in. That's just weird. And then after some convincing, okay, could I just go check? And we'll see how that goes. They're like, sure. And the deadbolt. Everyone's like, he's calling the police. I'm like, yeah, that would be a reasonable reaction to all that. Then, but he said that he's going to go check. I mean, there's no reason to not do that. There's no reason to just not wait. No reason to leave. And then G comes out and he's so much more relaxed. It was like, oh, they're not crazy. Of course, being an Echo and almost having his house broken into, you can understand. You'd be on guard from someone trying to break in. But then Echo, and just kind of, if he's been around the block, especially to Jasmine Street, he would probably understand there's some shit people out here. And, yeah. But he lives, oh. No? Never mind. I was gonna say, like, is this, because it said that the forest, the house NG is in, that's, you know, nearby the forest, right? And that also happens to be nearby Leo's house. So would Kudzu's house be right there too? Just trying to get the map, you know, in my head. But anyways, I've yapped on long enough. So thank you so much for listening and or watching. And if you like what's going on, please let me know in the comments below and with a like. And if you are, I'm going to start doing here too. It's cringe. But if you're new to the channel and you like what's going on with these videos, let me know. Hit that subscribe. Hit the bell. I try to publish videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So hopefully you'll join our little group here. I don't know what we're called. Until the next part, the next video, thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye.